War Room Sports, www.warroomsports.com. What? Ain't no more to it.
Welcome to Inside the War Room on War Room Sports TV. I'm your host, Devin McMillan, and I'm here with my co-host, Jimmy Williams, and B. Austin, the Black Burt Sugar. Today we want to talk to you guys about some things happening in the NFL. The competition committee are actually considering eliminating the kickoff from the game. Now, this is another thing that's related to all the safety issues going on in the NFL. So we're going to talk about it a little bit today. B. Austin, what do you feel about the fact that they're even considering eliminating the kickoff in the NFL?
Well, I'm glad that you asked, because I actually feel as though all of this stems from their being conscientious with the lawsuits that they're getting hit with. Being concerned about player safety is one thing. Are they concerned? Yeah, yada, yada, yada. But at the end of the day, they've got over $2 billion in lawsuits that have piled up in a class action, and that number continues to grow. I anticipate the number being somewhere north of $4 billion before it's all said and done. So you bet your hiney the NFL is concerned about the money as opposed to just player safety. So anything that can mitigate the risk of continued financial exposure on the part of Goodell, Roger God, and his fiscal team, he's all for it. So the kickoff is one of those plays in football where you are at a very, very, very high risk of injury. I would go as far as to say at least 1 in every 8 kickoffs somebody is hurt. I don't know
off the field.
Yeah, I don't know that stat is correct. I'm speculating as we do so well.
In the point that you make, though, it's like, can you really blame them? We talk to fans all the time, and we always hear, we've even been guilty of it ourselves, saying, the league is soft, it might as well turn into flag football, yada, yada, yada. But can you actually blame them? Like, I also hear fans saying, like, they don't make them like they used to. They're not tough as the players of old. But it's those players of old that we always compliment who are causing the issues as far as safety goes right now, because they're the ones suing the league. So, Jimmy, what are your thoughts on the whole thing?
I get it. I get everything you guys are saying. But my thing is, do they really care about safety? Because if they did, would they eliminate the Thursday game? Or is it about making money? Or is it about making as much money you possibly can while making it look as though you care about safety? Because let's face it, these guys play a very brutal sport, and to play on Sunday and then come back around and play Thursday, to me, is a joke. But they make a lot of money with those Thursday games. From everything I'm reading, they're very successful from a financial standpoint. So if you really cared about player safety, how about eliminating the Thursday game and allowing guys to fully, get ready for a game from week to week? It's already, 7 days in between each game unless you play on Thursday. So why not eliminate the Thursday game if you really care about player safety?
Nah, that goes back to that fiscal.
But that's what I'm saying.
Responsibility.
Are you trying to make as much money as possible while looking as though you care about player safety, or do you genuinely care about player safety? That's my question.
Well, their response to that, and I'm not saying that I agree with this position, but their response is, if we make the overall game safer, then why not play more games?
Yeah. I think that's what they're trying to do too. Just like what Austin just said.
Oh, you're saying
they just want to make the game safer, but I understand what Jimmy's saying, because in a sport like this, it's hard to recuperate. You know what I'm saying? It's not basketball or hockey where you can go back out there and play. But I understand what you're saying.
And we all know if you're not recuperated, you're more susceptible to injury. And you have to listen to what I'm saying, because I'm a guy with a cigar, so I know what I'm talking about.
Okay, now listen. Schiano, the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he actually came up with a plan that could be an alternative to the kickoff if indeed the kickoff is eliminated in football. Now, bear with me now, because this is straight off the cuff. I'm not reading it like I should be. But okay, after a team scores, when there would usually be a kickoff, you would have 2 options. From the 30-yard line, you could either have a 4th and 15 situation, one chance to get a first down and keep the ball, or you can punt the ball from the 30-yard line to the other team in lieu of a kickoff, because they're viewing the punt play as a bit more safer than just 11 guys flying down there in their lanes to hit somebody. Now, the whole 4th and 15 option is basically in lieu of an onside kick. So that's something that you wouldn't see, all the time after someone scores. So basically in a desperation situation when you're trying to get possession of the ball back, instead of an onside kick, you get a 4th and 15 situation. If you can pick up 15 yards, then you keep the ball. If you don't, then the other team gets the ball with great field position, just like they would when they recover an onside kick. So what do you guys think about that? Jimmy, you can start.
I like thinking outside the box, and it's one of those things where no one likes to change, no matter what your favorite sport is, whether it's hockey, basketball, baseball, football. No one likes to see things change. But I like the thinking outside the box. But I just think there's other ways to improve player safety. How about eliminating a couple games, but then adding a playoff game? You know what I mean? Like, because we all know playoff football is so much better anyway. Say you went from 16 to 12 or 13 games, but you added in an extra week of playoffs. That right there, it's just
not
something
enough
different.
money.
I get that, but the thing is, are we worried about player safety or just maximizing profit, or you're trying to do both at the same time? The thing is,
from a fan standpoint, I don't want to see 12 or 13. So
no. What I'm saying is, Austin. That's why I said add the extra playoff game there. But go ahead, Dev. What were you saying?
No, I was just saying from a fan standpoint, I don't want to see 12 or 13 games. So, but I'm not the league. I'm not the one legislating. I'm not the one who has to care about the safety of these players.
Yeah, let me say one more thing, though. The thing about that is something has to be done about player safety because I see it at every level now. You're talking about from Pop Warner to high school to college where there's definitely an issue. I don't know whether it's the fact that people move faster now because people are getting concussions now at every level. And the after effects, now we're starting to see what happens long term. Something has to be done. Mm-hmm. I don't have any kids, but if I had a son, I wouldn't let him play football if I'm being honest.
Right.
So something definitely has to be done to increase the safety in the game. But at the same time, as a football fan, of course you don't like change, but they have to do something drastic.
B. Also, what do you think about Greg Schiano's his alternative proposal?
Schiano's, I'll go with Jimmy and say thinking outside of the box, stepping away from the paradigm is always a good thing. However, I don't like it because I think that the team that has the opportunity to go for the 4th and 15 later on in the game gains a marked advantage over the defensive team. So I don't like it. To me, it's an additional advantage to the offense. So I would kind of vote nay on that. And then also to speak to kind of what Jimmy is putting out there, lowering the number of games that you play in the regular season versus the number of games in the playoffs. Just adding one playoff game from the league's perspective doesn't replace the revenue that it would be missing out on. Yeah, knocking off 2 to 3 games.
I understand dollar for dollar.
From a fan standpoint, just as Dev said, like I don't want to see 18 games, but I'm cool with 16. Like I don't want to see 12 or 13 either. Like I'm pretty much content with where it is now at 16 games.
That goes to my point of not wanting change. You know what I'm saying? And I know it wouldn't match dollar for dollar in terms of trying to replace the revenue, but couldn't you lose just a little bit considering what you're making? With the objective of improving player safety?
As a fan, no.
They can lose 2 of those preseason games. Now, I know that's
great point. That's a great point. That's a great point.
That's bad for dudes that's trying to make rosters that that don't have solidified spots. But at the same time, they're charging people the same amount of money for these preseason games as they're charging them for regular season games.
Yeah,
so fans are
outside of buying a license to buy tickets.
Yeah, it's crazy. But let me give you my opinion real quick on Schiano's idea. I actually like it, but I only like it, as an alternative if they indeed eliminate the kickoff. So basically I'm saying I like that versus, okay, you score and then the other team just lines up at the 20 and let's get going. The only part about that may be a little bit in question with me is the fact that even if you're using the 4th and 15 as sort of an onside kick alternative, I think the odds at picking up 4th and 15 are a lot easier than the odds of getting an onside kick. So they would have to think of something else, maybe 4th and 20. It has to be something, because I really think, it'll be a whole lot of we like to see comeback wins, but at the same time, we don't want it to just come easy to these teams. And I think 4th and 15 is really not that difficult of a play when you compare that to the odds of recovering your own onside kick. So I do like the idea, but I just think that same idea needs to be tweaked a little bit if indeed they're going to eliminate the kickoff.
So make it
I don't want them to eliminate the kickoff. So
make it like 4th and 26 or something.
Then you'll have aggressive coaches who will never punt the ball. They'll line up in punt formations and just run fake punts the entire game.
Yo, Belichick would go for it every time. He'd have like 80-0 wins, because every time they score, they just going to line up.
and then with touchdown timing, they may get it 90% of the time, and the other team will only touch the football like twice that entire game.
Right. So
it sounds like we just killed that idea.
So I guess we're all in agreement, though, that of course this all stems from the lawsuits and the financial issues that the league will be going through with these lawsuits. That results in a higher concentration on player safety, and that results in the rules of the NFL being dumbed down to eventually make it a flag football league. But hey, what can we do? Any last thoughts, fellas, before we get out of here?
Only thing I would have to say is I think there are other things that need to be talked about in order to improve player safety. And another reason the Thursday game should be eliminated is because I hate it from a fantasy football perspective. So,
Jimmy's he's still talking about that Thursday game
because it ruins my fantasy football.
But remember, last year they moved the kickoff to try to stop people from returning kickoffs altogether. Now they want to just get rid of it altogether.
Yeah, there's definitely a ton of risk associated with the kickoff. But it's a part of the game. I'm definitely resistant to that change. I'm not saying I would be resistant to all change, but I think the kickoff is a necessary evil. It's a necessary part of the game. So I wouldn't want to see it go away. And of course, in ending, with me, shout out to Red Auerbach and Bert Sugar.
Yeah. Well, like you said, the kickoff, they're specialists in the league. So there'll be a lot of guys,
out of work.
Their only shot of making the league it would be gone. So
Kasim Osgood would be gone.
All right, so make sure you guys, when you're on our page and you're watching our videos, make sure you comment on them, make sure you like them, make sure you subscribe to the page, War Room Sports TV. And we're going to get out of here, but until next time, always don't accept mediocrity and be steadfast in the war against ignorance. We out.
Wait, it's the War Room with 5 nights at the round table. 5 Philly guys, the first of